board. My role would be to give advice to the board, to give advice to the board officers, for you to discuss things more thoroughly, so that you could understand not only what your role is, what your responsibilities are. Our board, I serve on the Moon Board. I also serve on the Parkway West Career Technology Board. As the chair of the Education Committee, as the chair of the Personnel Committee, I'm also the secretary of the board. So I would bring to the board a lot of what would not be available through PSBA. They would send somebody out to meet with you. I would come to every meeting. I would assist with listening in on your many meetings and giving advice to the board chairs and also to the board presidents that would actually make you a more effective board very quickly instead of what commonly happens with the PSBA. The PSBA would send in trainers. That's usually global training. What Aliquippa needs now is a certain bit of triage, and I would assume that most people understand what triage means, that you would get some intense feedback about things that really the board should be engaged with, should be discussing, and should be working with your administration in improving the performance of the school district. Over 15 to 20 years, the Aliquippa School Board has found itself in the bottom 10% of all 500 school districts in the state of Pennsylvania. As a Aliquippa graduate, as an educator, as somebody who really wants to assist the district to improve its standing in terms of student performance, in terms of district performance, I can bring that kind of information. I can bring that kind of support. I can bring that kind of guidance to this school board and see a positive turnaround, a positive growth in terms of your performance in the short term, lay some groundwork for what you could do going forward as a board. I know that, I shouldn't say I know, I assume, and I think some of your comments confirm that. Some board members simply haven't been trained. When will that training occur? Well, what I will be doing as a consultant to the board is giving you advice and recommendations about the things that you should be focused on, including the kind of training that you should request from PSBA and other resources out there. I know that was a long answer. It was a fairly expansive answer. But that's what I've offered to bring to the district. It's what I know I can bring to the district. I think would be very beneficial to Aliquippa School District to begin to turn the tide of, instead of being on the bottom, to being able to move more toward the center of the pack of our state's 500 school districts.
So have you done this for any other district?
No, I have not done this for any other district, but what I can tell you is that when my own board needs advice about historical things, about the kinds of changes that we need to go through, the board president does call me. Other board members call me. Whenever something needs to be decided at the Parkway West Career Technology Center, as the chair of the Personnel Committee, the director of Parkway and the board president, they call me. I work with the board members from 1,200 member school districts at the Parkway West Career Technology Center. They rely on my years of experience to assist with guiding that board. I've seen other administrators, whether they're high school principals or superintendents, go to work as consultants with boards around the area. Not so much in Beaver County, but I've seen it time and time again in Allegheny County. And I sincerely believe that I can provide that kind of assistance, support, and guidance to this school board.
So some of the things that you mentioned starting out as far as understanding the committees and their functionality is part of the PSBA training.
I'm aware of that.
The newer board members have not gone through that training, but the board.
Which board members are you referencing? I have gone through that training. I did the training. You had two options. You could have done the live training or you could have done the online training. So I went through the online training where, just like that you guys received the certificate at the live training, I also received the certificate doing it online.
So have all
it's-
of our new board members gone through that training?
I don't know. You can ask, did you complete the training, Mrs. Mason? And did you, I'm sure you haven't, because they give you a year if you're doing it online. They give you a year to complete the training. So I don't know that you would have fallen even in the umbrella of the year.
And just a further comment, it's not only about training, because training gives you the law and those responsibilities, but there are so many nuances about being a board member that every board member should understand what their role is, what their responsibility is, and yes, PSBA would give you that. When would that training begin? How long would it run? My goal would be to be at every possible meeting and spend that time and listen and give you immediate feedback that you simply could not get, that you would not get from somebody simply providing training to the school board from PSBA. And I've been through numerous PSBA trainings, not only as a board member, but also as an administrator. And rather than push this down the road, I'd like to see Aliquippa simply make an effort, make a sincere effort to say, listen, there are some things that we could use some help with now and begin that process.
So, who was the gentleman that came in here that trained them?
Dr. John DeSanti twice was here, then we did the one with PSBA last year.
That's what I was thinking of, that came here and did the private session
Yes.
with the board.
I have a question. So, coming in, what would it look like for you to begin? What would be your starting point?
Probably my starting point would be to meet with the board, to actually obtain from you what you think some of the deficiencies are, and what I can share with you how, let's see, the couple of boards operate that I'm a member of, and to compare those things and see what kinds of things that you could give your attention to in the immediate term to actually begin to improve the work of the board.
Okay. And I know you have subbed here.
Yes.
And how would you set your boundaries from just doing board work and not leaning towards going into that area? Like it would stick with just consulting with the board?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Price, I missed that question. How would you said, I know
The
you,
boundaries in consulting with the board and not going into the school area?
okay.
Also a very good question. If I were to be approved to be a consultant to the board, I would not, and pretty much have not over the course of the last several weeks, in anticipation that
Mrs. Mason,
No.
Mrs. Price James,
No.
Ms. Colala,
No.
Mrs. Kane,
Yes.
Mrs. Durham Flanagan,
Yes.
Ms. Gill,
Yes.
Mr. Lowe,
Yes.
and Mrs. Stewart.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay.
So, one quick question. How do we determine, it says 3 to 6 months? So how do we determine when that ends?
Let's, you want to change the language to 6 months?
That's up to you, you guys. But I think just the motion,
The motion's hit. So it'll be up to the board whenever it ends. You can take another motion to end the consulting services whenever you see fit.
or just end it in October, like the motion says, no
Yes,
later than October.
No later than October.
What was your question, Catherine?
Because it says 3 to 6 months. So who determines when the end ends?
The board does.
So you're saying at the end of, say, 3 to 6 months, so you're saying at the end of 6 months, if we need to continue, we continue, if not, we cease, is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, if you continue, you have to do another motion.
Is that what you're saying, is that what I'm
Yes.
reading? Okay, all right, just want to make sure. Okay.
Any other questions? All right, recommendation to approve the minutes from the, April 14th and 21st, 2021 board meeting. And we're not doing anything with that. Okay. Tax parcels. All right, recommendation to approve the tax parcels as listed on the agenda. No.
No, we have vote.
Vote. Any questions?
I do. If you have a relative that's on here, as long as you're not like taking care of them, you can vote, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
All right, the solicitor. Recommendation to approve Mr. John F. Salenpak Esquire as the solicitor for the Aliquippa School District, effective July 1, 2021, through and including June 30th, 2022. All costs remain the same. Any questions or comments? Okay. The PSBA All Access Package. To approve the PSBA All Access Package for 2021 through 2022 school year at $6,280. The cost remains the same as last year. Any questions or comments?
Yes, so what does that include?
We just talked about the All Access Package is the policy upgrade. It is some of the training.
The live and online training, the board self-assessment with interpretation, the comprehensive subscription package, which is the daily emails and the magazines, and the policy maintenance.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Beaver County Mental Health. All right, the motion is to approve an agreement between Aliquippa School District and the Mental Health Association in Beaver County. Any questions or comments?
This an annual one.
Yes, this is an annual renewal. If we engage in any type of conversation, this approves to engage in conversation regarding student services.
All right, and Presley Ridge, to approve the agreement between the Aliquippa School District and Presley Ridge. Any questions or comments?
Can you explain that, please?
Yes, if the student would be placed at Presley Ridge, we would not send anybody there, but if they were court ordered to go there, just allows us to exchange information and for us to make payments if necessary.
Annual, we do this annually.
This
right?
is an annual.
Yeah.
Medic Rescue, Medic Rescue Services for the 2021-2022 school year at a rate of $3,400 effective July 1, 2021 through and including June 30, 2022. Any questions or comments?
This cost is the same. There's no increase.
What does Medic Rescue do? What is that?
They come to the football games, and if we would call them, if we needed them during school.
So that includes if something would happen during the school day?
Yes.
Basketball as well?
They don't arrive, but they're on call.
Okay, so they are always at the football game?
Yes.
They will be on call for basketball or
And
all the other sports?
Yeah, during the school day and everything else.
And during the school day? They're, okay, so they're,
Anytime they're called to district grounds, this is part of the fee.
okay.
So we pay that amount, whether they give us service or not?
That's correct.
But they come to the 5 home football games.
Yes.
They're there for sure.
Yeah, you
4 or
gotta have
5.
an ambulance there, yeah, I know that, you gotta have an ambulance there.
Right.
Okay,
Okay, finance,
finance, one, preliminary budget action requested. Motion to approve the preliminary budget with a 30-day viewing for the 2021-2022 school year with revenues at $26,291,175 and expenditures at, same thing, $26,291,175.
Mrs. Engelman.
You got, everybody has, as far as a PowerPoint presentation documents in front of you. So I'll just hit on the highlights of the budget. The revenue components, your 28% of the 26 million is your local revenue. 58% is state subsidies, and the remaining 14% is federal subsidies. Your budget has increased a little over $1 million, and that's basically because of the ESSER's money, and I did project a small tax increase for property owners. So in November of 2020, the board passed a resolution number 04-2020 not to exceed the Act 1 index. So the Act 1 index, the adjusted index for the district is 4.5%. You are able to raise your property taxes by 1.82 mils on buildings and 11.61 mils on land with this, without going for referendum, going above the Act 1 index. Currently, your property taxes are 40.5 mils on buildings and 258 mils on land. The next page, the revenue breakdown, the real estate taxes, to give you an idea. So I projected to have a 1 mil increase on buildings and a 3.5 mil increase on land. And for the average property owner with the median assessed values as given to me by the Beaver County, the building increase would be $15.50 a year. A land increase of 3.5 mils would be $15.75. Also, the revenue in here, the state budget figures are remaining the same as in 2021. They're not looking for any basic ed funding increases or any special ed funding increases, and the majority of that is due to the ESSER's money that's floating. The next page is the historical property tax millage rate, just to give you an idea of where we have been for the last 7 years, I think. So you can see how there's been small increases every year. Your general fund revenues, your local taxes, other than your property taxes and your interest on investments, it also includes your property tax relief, which is your gambling money from the state. You are estimated to get $748,472 of that funds for the 21-22 school year.
When does that money come in normally?
It usually comes in twice, so it'll come in the fall, and it'll come again in the, like in the beginning of the
So
school year.
the figure for this year, we already received that.
Yes.
Okay.
The state reimburses us for retirement. You get about 50% of the employer portion of the retirement on a subsidy coming back into the school district. You get 2 of your bond issues were state approved as part of the Plan Con So you're getting a portion of that, it's based on the percentage and the aid ratios, but you get a portion of that back every year too. That's projected to be around 700,000 for 21-22. Then your federal money, you get Title I, Title II, and Title IV. Those projects are all remaining the same as this year. ESSERS 2 and ESSERS 3 funds, the totals on here, the 1.3 million for ESSER 2 and the 896,000 for ESSERS 3, that's the money that I can tell you the school has projected to spend for learning loss and improvements and things. So that's the revenue tied to cover that. There's more money available that can be added. When the expenses are incurred, the money will flow with it. It's kind of a break even. But those are the expenses that were budgeted, so that is the revenue that was budgeted, so you're not showing a profit off the ESSERS money, because we can't do that. The next page shows you those funds. The ESSERS 1 fund will be gone this year, 794,000. The ESSERS 2 funds, 4 million, and then the ESSERS 3 funds are 800 million. Ms. Buffalini was here.
800,000.
8 million.
8 million,
Oh, okay.
Ms. Buffalini, what did I say?
800 million.
Sorry, 8 million. Ms. Buffalini was here a few weeks ago and explained these revenue streams a little bit. Does anybody have any questions on them?
Question. After school, tutoring, summer school. Okay, it's either summer school or they're offering extra tutoring. You have tutoring summer school. So if people weren't, didn't have to go to summer school, they still can come for tutoring.
They're both projected in the expense side. That's what I'm going to now. But both of them, summer school, extended school year, after school tutoring is all included in the projections for the expenses for the ESSERS money.
So is that why you're saying that the ESSERS 1 should be gone this year? Is that the projection that you're making?
The ESSERS 1 was used for, I gave you that breakdown a month ago, 2 months ago.
Well, forgive me, I haven't been here, so that's why I'm asking.
It's been spent. I think that's the question. Has it been spent?
It will be spent with the salaries that are coming out of there, will be spent by August 31st. Yes, so that will be gone for the school year, next school year.
You said salaries coming out of there? Did you create a new program or something that was going on that had new teachers or?
The autistic, let me think about this because I get confused.
The
Emotional support rooms are out of IDF, the autistic support is out of ESSERS.
Ms. Gill, any more questions?
So it doesn't say salaries, only salaries should be the autistic support, is that correct?
When you get back a few pages, it breaks it down, what your expenses are, salaries, what your taxes are, what your insurance is, how much athletics is costing you, what you spend in bond issues.
So that's all out of the ESSERS 1?
Now,
That's what I was asking.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. The
Yeah,
ESSERS
because I
1
said the ESSERS 1, I said it just said.
The ESSERS
that-
1 is not in this budget at all. This budget is
Never mind.
21-22.
Never mind, I'm
So
getting ahead.
my question, is that what Renee had broke down to with the ESSERS 1?
Yes, she broke down all of
She
them.
broke down all of it.
Yes.
So the, summer school is still gonna be, paid for by the parents?
As far as K to 8, no,
Excuse me?
but K to 8 will come out of this fund. We're discussing, the question came up about high school students, but the question that comes up is if we pay for the high school students and they still don't do the
I
work.
understand what you're saying.
Okay. If we pay for the high school students, the concern is, and we're still discussing, is if they don't do the work to complete, we paid for the course and then getting a credit out of it. So the discussion is, we've talked administratively, is do they put a deposit down or do we just put a set figure down, and when they complete the course, do we give them their money back? So we're still discussing that
That's
part,
what
but,
Hope, that's what Hopewell's doing.
okay, but K to 8 will be free and paid out of the ESSER's money.
K to 8 is under the S's money, and 9 to 12 will be refunded.
We're still finalizing that.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, are we good? Shall I move on? Okay, the next page gives you, it's just a quick summary, your expenses, salaries, benefits, and your debt service take up 62.4% of this budget. Your health plan, your health insurance premiums, medical only, is set to increase 4%. Your Aliquippa share of the employer PSERS is projected to be $1.4 million next year. Just so you get an idea of the normal costs that are associated with all this that you wouldn't even think of if you're not sitting here doing it. Then all of these figures include all of your out-of-district placements, including charter schools, and all of the placements for like Presley Ridge that you just approved, the court appointed, and Lake Run, and BCRC, and all those other agreements that those are all included in these figures also. The expenditure summary gives you a quick breakdown of where this $26 million is going, how much is going to salaries and Social Security and Medicare taxes and your retirement and your insurance. If you look towards the bottom, there's an ESSERS line. That ESSERS 3 has a 20% set aside for learning loss. And in this budget, I have $896,000 projected to hit that 20%. The line below them, other curriculum supplies of 2.5 million, that includes ESSERS 2 money. I didn't break that out, it's just lumped in there.
So the learning loss, so the credit recovery in the summer school, that is that'll be
That's
890.
included in there.
That's
Yes,
896,529.
it's included in there, yes. Also included in there is textbooks,
And the
online
890.
programs
Okay.
that your administration has looked at, your curriculum coordinator and your high school principal, elementary school principal.
Okay.
That included, that's everything together.
Okay.
So we have a new curriculum something new going on that we're getting materials for.
New textbooks, yes.
The science and social studies is what they're looking at right now, yes.
So Debbie, the textbooks and all the other stuff you mentioned, that's under that credit recovery?
Or
what is that?
It can be included in that,
Okay.
yes, that learning loss.
Okay.
So it's included in that 896. The next page is your charter school enrollments. These are current enrollments, so you have an idea of how much we're spending out every year in charter schools. So right now you have a total of 239 children that are going out of district to charter schools, whether it's brick and mortar or cyber. And that costs the district, it's projected to cost the district $3.841 million in 21-22.
Where's the 3.8?
It's on the page before that, it's all breakdown,
Under tuition.
and it says it's
Oh,
a
I gotcha.
13%
Okay.
increase. The increase happens, if these student counts change, the amount could go up and down, it's kind of like a moving target. The 363 rates are updated based on the budget that I present, so those are gonna change a little bit too. So that is just a rough estimate for charter schools, I'm hoping it's less, but I never seem to be able to get it less.
What's PA leadership?
I'm sorry,
PA leadership?
it's a charter school. Those are.
It is a charter school?
Those are the names of the charter schools and how many kids go to each charter school. I put that so you can see where they are.
Is that a cyber though? Because it's
It's a cyber.
Baden Academy and Lincoln Park are the only two brick and mortar, everybody else is.
cyber.
Oh,
So special ed is $34,660
Yeah.
per student.
yes.
If a student has an IEP, that's correct.
What did you just ask? Was it per student? You said per student?
Yeah, that's what it is per student.
Has these numbers gradually increased, historically, are the numbers increasing in
This is
terms
pretty
of?
consistent the last couple of years.
Oh, this
I'd
is
say.
consistent?
Last couple of years, I would say.
Yeah, the biggest increase since I've been here was when Baden Academy opened. And you had that mass flux of kids moving to Baden Academy. These numbers change, maybe 5 to 10 kids a year, depending on who graduates and who's coming into the grade level.
Who moves in, who
Right.
moves out.
This, considering what has happened in Beaver County with other districts in the pandemic, your charter schools enrollments have not moved. You have not, like, a lot of people have increased drastically because of the online learning. We have not. We have a total of maybe 4 kids that chose to go to a charter school in addition to what we projected. Your next page gives you the district retirement contributions. So this is the employer portion of PSERS that I keep talking about. These are where the percentages are. So we're all the way up to 34.94%. On every dollar that you pay an employee, you have to pay 34.94% of that into their retirement package. The rest of it is just the total of the budget, and if anybody has any questions or you would like me to discuss.
Mrs. Engelmann, that reimbursement part, how does that work?
It's based on a formula, it's a state-issued formula, so in my projections, I take 50%. It's based on 941 filings, which are payroll tax filings that happen quarterly.
Okay, so the reimbursement is quarterly then?
The reimbursement is quarterly, yep. We'll make the retirement contribution we pay that quarterly, like in March, we paid 600-some-thousand. And a week before we paid that, they reimbursed us the 50% of it.
Is this budget, I mean, is this different from what was sent to us at home?
That is, your disbursements. That is what I'm writing checks for. So those are 2 different documents. This is the only payment.
Right, that's why I was asking.
Yeah.
So, but I'll be getting ready to go into that, because I want to find out. The 500 thing, other purchase services.
Wait till we get to that part.
In the states, 1,132,138.46. And I want to know what the other purchase services are. Can I get a rundown on that?
The 500 includes your out-of-district placements and all your charges.
You don't have to look at, just give it to me on paper, so I can look at it.
Well, I don't know those numbers. I'm just telling you what the 500 accounts are.
I'm not saying right now, I'm saying, can you give me that breakdown?
Yes.
I can see what services we're paying.
Tell me what page you're on so I can pull the number.
Is that this right here?
That's number one.
No.
He jumped to the next item on the agenda.
I mean,
How you have that?
Tina has a question.
They gotta have a title on it. For that much money.
Find out where he is. Where's he at?
He's not even on this no more. I got a question about this. Okay.
so,
Page 1.
When you guys met as the budget committee, did y'all discuss this?
Yes.
And y'all cool?
The other night.
She explained all that to us,
And your recommendation is what?
to go whatever she said, because,
Well, you gotta remember one thing, this is still a working document. This is a preliminary budget, and the reason we're asking for approval tonight is we have to post it for 30 days, and the way the meetings fall in June 16th is the second meeting, and next week is May 19th. We would be below the 30 days. That's why we're asking for approval tonight, but once again, like I said, this is still a working document.
So the approval you're asking for
It's just the preliminary.
is just the preliminary budget?
Yes.
Just to post the preliminary budget?
Yes,
But we'll vote on the final budget
next month,
in June?
yes. Yeah, this is every year, this is the
Yeah.
annual cycle. Is it- That's the right term.
The question is, because I was, inquiring about that other, other may, you can put down $100,000 or something like that, but other, it still should have a label to what the other is when it's up to 1.4 million. Why can't it just have, this was spent, and this was spent totaling up to 1.4 million?
Where
not
y'all
just
at?
other.
Where you at?
On that page that we was talking,
This one?
Money brought up, I can't see it as other.
Is it the budget?
No, she's not, she's talking about what Monty was
Oh, wait,
talking
time
about.
out.
Money
Which is
was
that?
talking about. Yeah, I'm just talking about why is it other when it could have a name to it.
Right.
That's too much money to be saying other. It ain't no change, that's a lot of money. And where is it, and other, what is other?
So we gotta vote on this, right?
Yes,
Is that the next step?
But are you done with your presentation?
I am, unless anybody has any questions about the budget.
So as of right now, it balances. But it's a work in progress, and that could change.
It could change.
So Debbie, can you, because we're not voting on, are we voting on this tonight?
You're
like I s-
voting to accept the preliminary
Just for
budget and
preliminary.
make it, so I can post it for 30 days.
Before next week, can you get us the detailed information for this amount that they're questioning?
Yeah.
Is the
But
other
it's
amount-
not on,
I think it's on the other item.
it's on these.
It's on,
No, they're not talking about this at all.
Yeah.
They're talking about.
They're on these.
Yeah.
They're on disbursements, right here.
didn't we already vote? Didn't we already vote?
No, we didn't get to that.
Other two of them said, $1 million.
But that's later, we're talking about the budget right now.
I'm talking about that. Why can't we just have it later? That's all I'm asking.
Right.
Yeah,
And then what she went over with us at the budget.
exactly.
So did anybody make a motion? Not yet, right?
No, because she went in her presentation.
I make a motion.
Second.
Sorry.
Janice, did you do the recommendation to approve the preliminary? Did you?
No, I don't think she did that yet. Didn't you start
I did.
before
Yeah,
she?
Janice did.
I did.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then she went into her presentation and explained everything, so now it's your turn.
Who's second?
Nobody knows.
Who made the motion?
I made the motion. No, Tina made the motion, I second.
Okay, Tina.
Questions on the motion? All right, this is gonna be a roll call.
Yeah.
Mrs. Mason,
Yes.
Mrs. Price James,
Yes.
Ms. Colella,
Yes,
Mrs. Kane,
Yes.
Mrs. Stern Flanagan,
No.
Ms. Gill,
No.
Mrs. Bible,
Yes.
Mr. Lowe,
Yes.
and Mrs. Stewart.
No.
6-3. Motion carried.
Yes.
do I need approval to run the ad? I have to run it?
No,
now?
you just run
Just
it.
run it, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mrs. Kane?
Number 2, financial reports. Motion to approve the following reports for April 2021. Treasury report, report of taxes collected, report of delinquent property tax collections, general fund financial statements, and cafeteria fund financial statements.
Any questions or comments?
Monty, what were you, it was on disbursements, right?
Yeah, I was just
On the
asking-
first page?
Yeah, I was just asking.
Okay.
for Understanding of this right here, where it said other,
That's not.
What page you on?
other purchase services. And it's like
It's the first page
one-
of detail on
1.3
the
million
general
dollars.
fund,
I don't know what the other
ratification,
services
general
are.
fund disbursement. It says other purchase services. I'll remove
Yeah.
the word other because it is purchase services and I'll get you details of what's in those accounts.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
Yeah, just put the
are-
service that
that's
you
all.
If
paying.
I bring them on Wednesday,
What's that?
that next week is fine.
That's all.
I'm sorry, we still don't see it.
Okay, right. No, that was sent to your house.
Oh, that's, I don't have that.
Oh, so it's not what we have right
Yeah,
now.
Thank
that's
you.
mine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, that's it now, okay.
okay, yeah, I
Two
don't,
things.
that's at home.
Okay. And I just.
No, it was
Pretty
sent to
nice
the home,
let
and
Peggy
then
see.
you can explain.
No, I just wanted to know.
Yeah, but these ones don't have the numbers.
Didn't just pass.
Those, the ones on 2 were sent home.
So everybody got a copy already?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Three-
I'm sorry.
three.
You're right, they were sent home.
It was sent home.
3, we didn't make copies for 3, so what to send those.
No, I did the disbursements, I didn't do the others, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Any other comments?
Okay. Number 3 is disbursements. Motion to approve the general fund disbursements in the amount of $419,524.06 for May 2021. General fund ratifications in the amount of $720,207.97 for April 2021. Cafeteria fund disbursements in the amount of $49,688.26 for May 2021.
Any questions or comments?
Yes, so we spent all this in this pandemic year, with all the pandemic, we spent all this.
Yep. Don't forget your ratifications include your payroll and all your payroll taxes.
I know this is probably has nothing to do with budget, but are the students who are virtual, this is probably the wrong place to ask this, are they still receiving meals or no? It's just in-house.
The students that are virtual, I believe, have the option of contacting Ms.
And then coming to get meals?
to
Okay,
pick up their meals. She did send notice home when the kids came back to school that they had that option. They just have to pre-order because there's kids running through the cafeteria
Gotcha.
now, but she does still give them that option.
okay. Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, number 4, the Nutrition Group, Inc. Motion to approve a 1-year contract extension with the Nutrition Group, Inc., effective July 1st, 2021 through and including June 30th, 2022.
Any questions or comments?
If I could have just Debbie make a comment, or I can, go ahead.
So Nutrition Inc., we signed a 5-year contract with them 6 years ago. This will be year 7. We advertised last February, I believe, an RFP went out. We got some responses back, but then the pandemic hit. So everything was put on hold. PDE passed the stipulation that you could do a year extension. They have also done it for the 2021 school year too, in order to not have people coming through and touring facilities and keeping socially distant. So this will be the 7th year on a 5-year nutrition contract, knowing that we will be going out to bid January of 22 for the 22-23 school year. Prices are remaining the same, work levels are remaining the same, nothing is changing. They're honoring all of what was there before.
PDE is extending that
Yes.
Yes,
for the,
yes.
Okay. Okay, number 5, cafeteria prices. Motion to approve adult cafeteria prices for the 2021-2022 school year. Breakfast at $2.25 and lunch at $4. The lunch cost is a 25 cents increase.
Any comments or questions?
What'd you say?
I do have a question about that, and so maybe you can answer, because this is what they always ask when they see this. With the portion size increase, so they always say they're paying this, but they're getting kids out of portion.
you would really have to talk to Tanya about that. That might have changed.
No.
I mean, I've noticed it changed during this time, it definitely has changed.
Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like.
She would have a
Once we get
better,
back to normal.
she would have a better answer for
Okay.
you.
And this is PD, correct? This is English.
PD did raise the rates, and so we raised our rates to cover the increase for PD. So PD does have a requirement to increase these rates, we raised ours a little bit more.
So nutrition had nothing to do with that increase.
PDE gave us the guidelines of where they needed to be.
And then nutrition sets them in place.
Yes.
Okay.
So did they increase the number of, money that you get per student?
Oh, on the budget, yes.
Okay.
Well,
No.
For lunch, no?
we're CEP, so all the students are free lunches.
All students are free
This is-
lunch, got
This
it.
is the adult.
That's right, that's right. I
So
missed
my
that
a la
one. My
carte,
bad.
your a la carte sales.
I knew that.
increase a little bit.
My bad, I knew that. Sorry about
A la
that.
carte sales for 21-22 will increase a little bit.
I knew that. I really did.
Okay.
Well, I haven't bought lunch in a while, so I can't say whether the portion size is different since the pandemic. But now it's increased, so we'll see. Okay, number 6, Hawley Consulting. Okay, motion to approve the agreement with Hawley Consulting for the post-retirement medical evaluation under GASB 75 for years ending in June 30th, 2021 and June 30, 2022. The cost is $4,200.
Any questions or comments for this Hawley
What is that?
consultant?
So GASB 75 is a federal requirement. They do a post-retirement evaluation, sort of like an audit on how much retirement we have out there, right? Is that how, I'm not saying it right. So they're looking at all our retirement and making sure that all GASB or additional entries that need made to your books for your audit. So when I finish my books for the year, your auditor comes in, does your entry, and gives me adjustments, and their GASB adjustment. This is to make sure that what she is making me adjust is in those guidelines. This is something that happens, he does it every year. It's a contract that it's a 2-year contract. So that 4,200 is this year and next year's evaluations that he'll be doing.
And that's what we paid 2 years ago
Yes,
also. It
and
was the
this
same
will
price.
be the second time he will be here, because the last 2 years Polly did it, and then the year before that Milliman did it, but we dropped the cost in half by going with the local company.
With a local company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Education Technology Summer School. Recommendation to approve summer school sessions for elementary school, June 14th through July 9th, 2021, and July 12th through August 5th, 2021, and August 9th, 2021, 9 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. And at the junior senior high school, June 14th through July 9th, 2021, 8:15 a.m. to 12 p.m. All costs will be covered by ESSER's funding, date subject to change based upon student enrollment.
Any questions?
Yeah, I'm sorry, can we get the wording changed? If you said the ESSER's funding wouldn't cover the high school, or you weren't sure yet? Am I correct in saying that?
Well, those are more for the personnel costs, the staffing cost.
Okay.
That's, and busing and any food costs, but that'll be taken care of. But busing and staffing is different.
Okay.
Is there anyone here that can tell me what these summer schools are gonna entail? What is gonna be the curriculum? How you're gonna do it? What you're gonna do? Or you haven't finalized yet?
Well, we've had discussions. We talked about the education meeting the other night. Just work on, try to address some of the learning loss that has occurred, because obviously we know it's been almost over a year since the pandemic hit. The students weren't in school for a year, so just trying to address some of those specific needs that the students need, either that they need or to move on to the next grade level. Reading and math is the focus. K to 8, there's no science or social studies, it's just reading and math. And we're just working with the teachers, meeting with the teachers, having discussions, just trying to think outside the box to make it creative, make it fun, make it enjoyable for the students to come, and also the learning at the same time. We don't want it to be that traditional.
So how would you know how many kids you're gonna get? Would you have some sort of registration for each
Ms. Shepherd and Mrs. Smith have been meeting with the teachers.
meeting with the teachers?
Yes, I don't have that number with me, but
I mean, but is that what you would do, a registration?
Let me just clear a little bit.
What'd you say?
Mr. Mock and myself have been meeting with grade level teams, K to 3. We've met with them in depth to talk about student needs and to really focus in on what's occurred in the past year, so we can really focus on who would benefit most from being in summer school. We then sent a form to those teachers to try to be extremely specific about the needs of the kids. So they took their students and gave us some data and some feedback so that we kind of had an idea of what kind of numbers we were looking at. And then on Friday, Friday, we're gonna meet with just a small core group of teachers who apply to be summer school teachers and actually design the program. But what we've shared with the teachers is we're gonna use any diagnostic information we have on the kids, plus some teacher feedback to design what we would work on with them. So it's gonna be very targeted and very specific. We don't wanna sit and try to make assumptions that we can just, generalize summer school, and we're gonna really try to focus on the kids that are actually present there. And we do have some data that tells us where they are in reading, what skills they still need for the next grade level. And we're very fortunate that we have a huge interest in summer school from teachers within that grade span. So that keeps us very confident that we have the right people that are going to be working with the kids.
No, I'm saying, how are you gonna know how many kids you're gonna get?
Well, we have to wait for it to be board approved, but we're prepared to send something out as soon as it's board approved.
So you'll do some sort of registration and you'll know exactly.
Yes, because we have to have permission because of the busing.
Right.
And then we're gonna, I talked to Tanya, we're gonna do, a grab and go type breakfast and definitely lunch, because we were worried that the kids, that once they left, if they got lunch typically in the community at the sites, that they'd miss that, because they're gonna be there until 12:30. So we're gonna make sure that they're fed breakfast and lunch. And like Dr. Carbone said, we know that we have to keep them very interactive in the summer, make sure that the kids are getting what they need, but in a fun way, and build in other activities too. We're gonna have our speech and language therapist there, we're gonna have our school counselor there. So we're trying to get every need that they have, but really focus on the reading and math skills that they need to be successful in the next grade. So we were hoping for high participation. A lot of the teachers in these lower grade levels have already been talking to parents and documenting that. They've been saying that, that we're gonna try to initiate a summer school. So that we're getting a lot of feedback in that regard. There's also parents, as Shepherd and I were talking about, they're reaching out to her as the building principal and to the teachers asking for this too. So, hopefully we get a large number of kids. I mean, we'll, I'm sure with her staff that they'll be calling, to try to reach out and, get as many people as we can. But we feel that regardless of how many come, we still have to service those kids, because every kid counts. So even if we don't get the numbers we want, we still want to go forward with it, because we lost, kids lost too much to not serve the ones that want to come.
So are you doing K through 6?
We're focusing on K to 3 right now.
In all 3 of these sessions?
So we have to make sure that we have teachers that can teach the 4 through 6 material. Right now, we have a bunch of primary grade level teachers that are willing to teach. We have a few teachers from the junior, senior high who are willing to come to the elementary school to teach those higher grade levels, but we don't necessarily have enough right now. So we are looking to focus on K to 3, get that one done, and then see what we have left over as far as staff is concerned, but then move to 4 through 6.
And then where would you do 7? Because you said K through
7th
8.
and 8th is up here.
Up here.
Yeah.
And you have
to
the,
also be mindful that we can't occupy, because we talked about it this morning, that maybe some of our grade levels may have to come up here, depending on how many children we get in our building, because we can't occupy the majority of the elementary school or the junior, senior high, because they won't be able to get in and do what they need to do over the summer to prepare the building for the next school year.
The other thing I think we need to keep in mind is the numbers, because I think you guys are speaking firmly to the numbers. And since COVID is still here, we would hate to find ourselves in a situation where we have implemented this summer program and now we have to shut it down because of COVID. So I think we have to be very careful and very sensitive to the social distancing model. A question I have is what are you going to use to assess growth? So if these are, because my thoughts are we're closing a gap or we're attempting to make those connections. How are we assessing that over the summer in 4 weeks?
We plan on doing weekly progress monitoring.
A progress monitoring?
We would use a weekly progress monitoring tool every week that they're here. So we'll have a list of skills and then we can progress monitor them. Teachers, especially in those lower grades, do that regularly anyway. So I think that that's something that we can easily build into the sessions.
Because we talked about like the theme being summer sprinkle. So one week we're gonna do, everything will be around, say, a cupcake with sprinkles, a donut with sprinkles on it. And whatever the skill is, we talked about each kid having a chart. So if say if the skill is, say, for kindergarten, being able to count to 100, that would be one of the sprinkles on their cupcakes, on their desk, and when they achieve that, they get to color it in. When the whole class achieves, they will have possibly have a large one, the teacher will put an actual sprinkle on that, so they can see what they are achieving as a group as well as individually.
So, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that, we didn't clarify this, the last program that we wanna do is for incoming kindergartners. Because years ago, we used to do something like that for incoming kindergartners, and we, obviously get concerned about those kids not having been anywhere because of COVID. Some of those kids haven't even been able to be in daycare. So we wanna make sure that we do, we're calling it a jump start for those kids. And because of the timing of the summer program, what we were suggesting is, right now, that could really only be 2 weeks because of when we would return to school. But if we only have enough numbers to have one session for K-3, we could maybe possibly have that for 3 weeks. But that's information that we'll reach out to parents when they register their children. We want to open that up to incoming kindergartners and focus on just those basic things, that they focus on in kindergarten, that they should have, before they enter kindergarten.
So I'm understanding that the first session, you're gonna focus on K through 3.
Yes,
The second session, you may include 4 through 6?
it depends, but we would prefer to, because of social distancing, we prefer to have 2 sessions of K-3. I don't know if the numbers will allow for that, we may not get that many kids, but we were hoping we were hoping to have 2 separate K-3 sessions. Our discussions have really been about K-3. Because of some of the things that Ms. Shepherd alluded to with the 4th, 5th, and 6th, it's a different, program for K-3 because we're still building those foundational skills for kids to learn how to read and to have those basic foundational skills for math. That's a different design than if you reach out to the 4th, 5th, and 6th. And so that would encompass a lot more 4th, 5th, and 6th, and the staffing issue would definitely be a problem, and how we would pull those kids in would look different than what we talked about with K-3. That's why we're just trying to focus on this group, because this group would be most affected by the COVID shutdown as well.
Okay, so I may be getting into a different discussion, but what are we gonna do about learning loss for 4 through 6?
I mean, there are some things that we're gonna have to obviously do to look at the schedule, which we've already loosely talked about. There are definitely things that we have to do next year and build into the schedule. Our schedule can't look like it looks now, and Ms. Shepherd's already been working on that. We've been talking, we're still trying to go forward with an intervention piece, which would include more students for sure.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, we're not excluding 4th, 5th, and 6th, it's just, we have to make sure that we have one focus and hit that very well with the staff that we have and the design of how we can handle this. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's why we want we're hoping to get this board approved tonight, so that we can actually get some numbers.
Yeah.
And, maybe adjust if we have to.
so
And if you want, we can
I guess
just
you
send
can
it out.
answer this too. What about 7 and 8 up here? Have you had discussions up here about how you're gonna do?
Mr. Malik and
7 and 8, we're going to focus on the math, the reading, and the writing part. So they'll have an hour of math, an hour of writing, an hour of reading. So it's the kids that fail math and reading in 7th and 8th grade, those are the ones we're focusing on. That way they can move on to next year. If I remember correctly, there's around 30 students in the 7th and 8th grade that meet that requirement.
I have a question. I'm going back to the elementary level. The day is gonna be from 9 AM to 12:30? Is that the scheduled day? So, and you said they would get breakfast and lunch? So how much time are we gonna commit to instructional time?
3 hours.
3 hours, they're gonna get breakfast, lunch, and then it'll be 3 hours of instruction?
Yes, because yes, because they would have a grab-and-go breakfast, which they're doing now, they're used to doing that now. So the teachers could already get them moving and grooving when they come in, they're small bites of food, they're not, it's easy for them to get started. So they can engage early, and they're not gonna have that full half an hour. I don't think we hashed out whether or not it might be bagged and they take it with them, as opposed to them sitting down eating it. So I feel confident that we can get 3 hours of a multitude of things. Like I said, we're gonna include the guidance counselor as well, so there's gonna be, it won't be, there's gonna be little breaks for kids too. So 3 hours is a long time for kids, I think.
So, but what you're saying is like you could do a grab and go lunch too, like as they're leaving, going home, they could just grab a lunch and
That would
go.
be easier, yeah.
Okay.
And then we can get the most time out of them. 3 hours is a really long time for kids that age to be in one sitting, so we have to break it up, we can't expect them to sit for 3 hours. So we have we have a good team of teachers. Like I said, if they're seasoned teachers who've worked with this age group, she and I had a preliminary meeting already with them, and we're gonna do a follow-up meeting on Friday, where we could really dive into blocking out time, from this time to this time. We'll have that more ironed out after Friday. Friday was really the first opportunity we had to have a meeting like that, because they're teaching, so we needed a couple hours at least to do that. So Friday, because an in-service will allow us that time to really break down the day, and then I can give that back to you guys on next week.
I have a couple of questions, going back to the 4 through 6 stuff. I know when we met the other night, you had given us a rough estimate of the kids K through 3 that you're expecting for like retention. Do you guys have an estimate for 4 through 6?
They did turn in some report information regarding that. The thing is that we were waiting to really see what the criteria was going to be for pass or fail, because we don't have that we don't have it concrete yet. But it's not necessarily as many as we're looking at for K through 3.
So when you say that we
When
don't,
you get in the older grades, we kind of take other things into account. We have to take age into account, because some kids, I hate to say it, but some kids may have possibly aged out of the elementary school setting.
when you're saying concrete, like who are you waiting for a decision on? Like to determine whether they're being retained or
To
not?
be quite honest, not you guys. Because we've been, 1 minute, are we passing or failing? It's just been a little wishy-washy.
That's not our
That's not a
decision.
board
Why is that
That's
not
not our
a
decision.
But that's first I've heard that.
Okay. No, we'll make the decision. I mean, that's not a problem.
Okay. The other question I had too, and I meant to ask you this the other night, Beth, was the 6th graders moving up here. That's a concern to me because that's kind of a jump for them anyways, going from 6th to coming up here. So are we gonna look at, like, if you look at the 4th and through 6th grade at those kids that are moving up, because that's gonna be a big transition.
So you're asking if there's gonna be a program, like an orientation type program, or are you asking?
Not so much that, but these kids that may be struggling or a little bit behind this year, now you're moving them up here,
Right.
which is a whole different world for them. Are they gonna be behind coming into 7th grade if we don't have something in place for them?
I don't have enough information on the 6th grade to answer that. I don't have enough, I haven't worked with the 6th upper grades like I have with the K to 3 to be able to answer that.
Is that something you guys can really look at? Because that is a concern of mine, just because it's such a transition moving up here anyways.
And on the normal circumstances, it's
Right.
a drastic transition,
Right.
because they're going from an elementary school setting, being walked everywhere, and, have a teacher with them all the time, as opposed to being becoming more independent up here. That is definitely something that we can look at. And like I said before, it really is gonna depend on if we have the staff that can actually teach the material. Because if you have someone that's only taught, say, up to 2nd grade, and you put them in a 6th grade math setting, well, how beneficial would that necessarily be?
And one of the questions I asked when we had our committee meeting was the beginning of next year, moving these kiddos in, the ones that may not be in summer school. What is the plan coming into the beginning of the year? I mean, I know you guys always do kind of a refresh, like
I
when
said from
they
the
come in,
beginning, when
but
COVID started, when we shut down last year, every district was basically trying to figure out what we were gonna do, how we were gonna meet the needs of our students. And I said from that point on, that we're gonna have to meet them where they are. I said, you're not gonna be able to walk in and fifth grade gonna look like fifth grade. We have to meet them where they are. You're not gonna be able to do what you normally do, walking in, say, the end of August, beginning of September. Because, to be honest, if we're all honest, they're not gonna be ready for that. And we have to meet them where they are. We have to put what we necessarily may want to do aside and give them what they need.
And is the junior, senior high prepared as well to kind of transition with that too?
Yeah, they're not gonna expect them to be going to seventh grade if we have a seventh grade level.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions?
The teachers,
Okay.
are the teachers gonna be reliable teachers?
Yes. I feel confident with the teachers.
You feel comfortable? Okay.
And I have to agree with her that they're the ones, they're the ones who would normally do summer school and would be there the whole time anyway.
Are there enough teachers? Are there enough teachers? How many do you have? Yeah, are there enough?
I know we have 7 that said they would work the whole entire summer. And then we have, 5 that could work part of, like one or the other of the sections. And we have 4 teachers for the high school who want their program, if they're using their program to help us after that. And if not, they can come, they're willing to come. And these are all people who are able to work with elementary level students. So we have a lot of teachers. We have 7, like I said, right now, who are committed to the whole entire summer.
Okay, but you're
And they're
talking
all
about for
kids.
elementary, you're not talking about for like 4th grade and then like for the high school, you're just talking elementary.
Yeah.
No, you said you had high school teachers.
Four.
For elementary.
4 that are willing to come
high
down.
school.
Yeah, we have high school teachers who have taught at, elementary level as well, who said that if we needed additional teachers at the elementary level, they would be able to help us. I just have to wait to see if they're chosen for the program that they're doing in the high school, because then it would overlap and they would be able to do that. But yeah, I think we have plenty of teachers for the number of kids that we're gonna invite.
So you don't think you have any high school teachers for high school kids? We're just gonna stop
Yeah,
4 to 6? Because you only said 4 to 6, I didn't know 7 to 9 or 10th, 11th, or whatever.
No.
We're not,
7 and 8, but we have
that's junior high.
3 or 4 high school teachers. Now, for grades 9 through 12, that's a completely different world. Because they need to make up the credits they need for graduation. So we just can't throw a science teacher in there because the kids are gonna need biology, chemistry, all the courses they need to graduate. So for the grades 9 through 12, that's where we choose the ingenuity platform.
Is that the credit recovery?
It's, credit recovery. Because we can't put a teacher in for every single subject, because you need the entire staff here.
So it's safe to say that summer school will be for K through 8, and then credit recovery goes from 9 through 12.
Correct.
Yeah, that's virtual. They'll take the online component, the 9 through 12 students.
So if an elementary student, 3rd grade, is failing, and they need to go to summer school, do they get to go to the 4th grade if they complete?
If they're successful.
Yes.
I mean, we've said that, we've always said that at all levels, even, when I was here. That's always a clause, they have to be successful, obviously, if they're still struggling, or if they lack in attendance and don't participate, we have to consider that as well. So when that's given to the parent, that would be very clear to them in the dialogue, they have to be, they have to participate,
And this will be unique for the elementary school because we haven't had summer school in a few years, but it's been a while since summer school has been for half of the elementary school, so that will be unique for this summer. The summer school program used to be remediation, not for half of the next school.
Right. And we're also we're not, all the kids that we're inviting, they're not all, it's not all gonna be contingent on them passing either. Some of them are kind of kids that are, right on the cusp of that. So some of those kids, the teachers feel that, they went to summer school, they would boost them, and they would be much more successful in the next grade level. So that includes more kids than just kids that need that pass. So it is a little bit different, typically in the older grades, if you don't pass the class, you go to summer school. Here, we're trying to include more kids. Because we know there's kids that are, the teachers feel like, they have some skills, but not all the skills. We're really focusing on skills. They're not just sitting there looking at the grades that they got in their class. We're really focusing on skills. And we have, we have assessments that we do for the kids.
How many days a week or is it all 5? 4?
The only Friday that's in there is, the week of the 4th of July, because the building shut down on the 6th, so we have to have it that Friday. To get the 4 days in.
Maybe you answered this and I missed it. So the kids that are possibly, say a kid's gonna be retained, is there an option for them to go to these sessions and be promoted to the next grade?
Yes, but there are some kids who, based on specific criteria that we've discussed and all agreed upon, we would not feel that they should be moved on to the next grade. And a lot of that has to do with attendance. We have kids that did not participate at all. I mean, it was so minimal that we would be irresponsible to send them on to the next grade. So those kids, we all agree as an administrative team at all levels that we have to be irresponsible for them to pass them to the next grade.
I'm saying like a kid that has done this since last March. And they couldn't learn that way and they just didn't get it. So if they attend these sessions, it's possible that they would be promoted to the next grade.
For instance, there are some children that, the teachers are saying, now that I have them in front of me, I see that they're getting it. Right. And I think if they get the sessions over the summer, they will be good to go for next school. Right. Like a lot of the younger grades, they're saying that now that I have them in front of me, I can actually see what they know. Right. And they are grasping. And they just need a little more over the summer.
Okay.
So Beth, you did that Haggerty, diagnostic. And so when we looked at that data, those numbers were pretty grim. So you're saying, and you're gonna get ready to do that again? And so if we don't see the improvement, you're saying bring them in over the summer and then we will see the improvement? Is that what you're suggesting?
I mean, the goal is that they would improve. That's the goal. That's always the goal, that if we have smaller groups and more time and do the right activities, the right instructional mode at that particular time, that the kids would be growth.
And I agree, but I think the variables that we're really not speaking to, and you and I had the conversation already, is those behaviors. Because most times when we are acting out and we're not as attentive as we need to be, is because we know we're not where we need to be academically. So if you are able, I think the way you guys are speaking, all the stars will have to align. If that doesn't happen, my question is, in a realistic setting, what does it really look like? I know you're saying you enter at 9, you're gonna grab your breakfast. We're talking about kids. And so, I mean, they're just not gonna be sitting there at 9:15 ready to go. That's not gonna happen. So I don't see the instruction. I would like to see the amount of instructional time that is gonna be built into this program.
We're never come up with a schedule, but I feel confident that the kids will, especially the first group of kids, they'll start to be in a routine. So they're used to coming in, having that quick breakfast time and moving into a routine. So that routine is not going to be broken because they will have just left school a couple days earlier. So I think that we can, the teachers are, like I said, they're used to the kids now eating in the rooms and doing those kinds of things and knowing when to start. So I think that they're quick to get that handled quickly. And they know these kids because they have them. We have representation from K, 1, and 2. that's the majority of the teachers that sign up for summer school. So I do think that they will know how to handle it. I don't think now that breakfast would be later. I don't think it takes them a very long time.
Because a lot of, but by the time they come, because our kids start to arrive about 9:10 in the morning. We're usually finished with arrival between 9:30 to 9:40, depending on how the buses are run. A lot of them have already had breakfast by the time that they come in. So what they do, they take the breakfast from them, and they use it something like a snack later on in the morning, before they, like, or even after their lunch period, they have an early lunch period. So, in talking particularly to, first grade teachers, they're telling me that they're seeing a lot of their kids aren't eating breakfast in the morning. They're using it to supplement, say, to get them through the afternoon. So it's not hindering their morning routine.
Yeah, I just know that we have a couple of teachers, and I shared this the other night, who did summer school with this age group, and felt that they had a lot of success. They had participation, they felt the kids gained skills. This was, I don't know, several years back, I guess, but, so having those people on there, on the team, planning and teaching, I think makes a difference too, because they saw what worked for them at that time. I think that, like I said, I feel like our teachers, especially at that lower level, have the kids in the routine because they keep them for a stretch of time. You know, our older kids change classes after a certain amount of time, so it looks a little bit different. But the K the primary teachers have them all day, so they're used to plugging in a routine for the kids. So I think that, you know, like I said, we will certainly share what we come up with on Friday as a group. But we'll come up with a tentative schedule and that can be shared. I mean, that's not a problem. We'll do something a little bit more specific, like, you know, Friday is the first opportunity we have. But I think at that age, an hour or 3 hours is a long time to be working on reading and math and, you know, some social and emotional type skills and, you know, speech, whatever. I think we can get a lot out of that time. There's structure and time that we're utilizing the right strategy.
Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah, just whenever you get it together, I'd like to see like what you have put in place.
Yeah, I'll get it to Dr. Carpenter so that we get it, you know,
I distribute, yeah.
Yeah, you get it there, Brandon.
Yeah, I'll make sure you guys have that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good. All right, recommendation to approve ESY services Monday, June 14th through Friday, July 9th, 2021, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Any questions or comments?
So why they going half an hour later?
By who?
Dr. Guzzi.
This is a different program that, is set up time-wise to mimic what the kids are doing right now. It's populated by the students of our autistic supported or life skills program. And they are, qualified through their IEPs individually to have certain goals that they work on in the summer. So, if they qualify for a set school week, which was about 45 students, they're offered this program yearly. So this has nothing to do with the pandemic or anything. This is just a part of their rights as a student in special education. And so, as far as why a half hour shorter, I don't understand.
No, they're going 9 to 1. I said a half an hour later. The other group is going 9 to 12:30.
Oh, we didn't plan this together.
Excuse me?
I think you answered the question when you said you were keeping the same time that a lot of them are
Yeah, that's
doing
why I
right
set it
now.
up
in
like
the
this,
school year.
but, we didn't correspond our plans. But I didn't know what time it was.
Is this what they're,
Right. I have a total of 10 students coming right now.
Oh, this is not the program I did.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, I can't remember the chances.
Oh, okay. I'm just wondering because I just, what?
I saw you in a lot of us that came over with one. This is the one that comes now to Ms. Kiesler's room, Ms. Chicarella's room.
They come in the back, they come in the back.
backside?
Well, that's where I would bring them. But, Ms. Hines, is it the same group? Ms. Hines?
That was before we came back to school.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a different group.
That's, okay, all right.
That was the study hall.
That's not what this is. Okay, you got all these different names, okay, that's cool. Okay, thank you. It's good. Okay, thank you. Thank you for clearing that up. Thank you.
Recommendation to approve the participation in the following BVIU Consortium partnership for the 2021-2022 school year. Discovery Education, $1.49 per student. Overdrive, $1,512. Technology Pool Council, $329. Nusala, price to be determined.
Any questions or comments?
What are these?
Okay, Discovery Education is an opportunity for virtual field trips and to visit virtual things. I remember being in one classroom at the elementary school. Teacher, they were actually in Houston at one of the NASA offices doing, that was one example that I remember. Overdrive is online books. It's an online library. Technology Pool Council, if Mr. Salopek cannot answer a question regarding technology, it might be a legal question, this company or the company we use, that's their specialty on cyber law per se. And Uzella, Mrs. Smith, do you mind explaining that? You'll explain it better than I would.
So Uzella kind of supports the curriculum that you have, and it kind of focuses a lot of informational text. So teachers in any subject, and the reason why I said to be determined for prices is because we wanted to know when school buildings typically do it, we've been doing 7-12. They can use different types of articles that support what they're teaching the kids, and then it will have quizzes that go along with them, so they can do a lot of progress monitoring that way. So whatever topic that they're working on or discussing with the kids, it will, I can't remember the exact name. There's a curriculum component that kind of matches up with ours. And I actually spoke with them today. We have professional development that they'll give us. And they're willing to do some pre-professional development. And the journey series that we use at the elementary school, they actually have, coordinate their articles to what they're learning in that journey. So if I'm a fourth grade reading teacher, I can working on a certain, topic or skill. All I have to do is go and sell it, and the journey will actually be there, and it'll give them a bunch of supplemental reading material that they can use along with what they're doing in the book and the book. And there are a lot of teachers. I know that we went over to use it in the high school. There were several high school teachers who use it quite often, and they, like I said, it's a short articles, so they're not, the kids, they understand them, and it really supports what they're doing in the classroom.
Okay.
Like, they high interest material.
Okay. Any other questions? Athletics.
Volunteer track and field assistant action requested that, they, accept DeWitt Hudson as a volunteer coach for the track and field team for the 2021 season.
I move.
I'll second. Any questions on the motion?
Yes. So track season's almost over, and we're just voting on a volunteer.
It was just brought to my attention
So he
later.
coached a whole season.
He did?
I don't know how much he was here, but he was here.
I didn't go to any track meets.
Mrs. Kane brought it to my attention. I asked Mr. Udon. He said he would look into it. I said, well, we need his clearances. We got his clearances for board approval, so.
You
But
have
he was-
clearances?
We actually had him on file because he was approved 2 years ago as a volunteer, but we had 2 to 3. One needed updated, and it was just brought to our attention later, to my attention later rather than sooner.
So who does that?
But in actuality, he should have been voted on when they
Yes,
were approved, when Sherman and
back
Vashon
in
were approved.
February, yes.
So my question is, who gives these guys, these coaches, volunteer coaches, the authority to participate whenever they haven't been approved?
It must have been the head coach.
That's the head coaches, okay.
So is this being addressed with Sherman?
Yes.
What is the typical time frame? The board should be approving coaches, volunteer coaches. how many months before the actual, season begins? Is there a time frame?
I think Sherman was approved in February.
Spring or usually February.
Okay, all spring coaches are February.
And baseball and softball also.
Yes.
Track, baseball, softball, and volleyball or something.
Was Brandon aware of this?
He said he saw him at a practice, but he didn't realize he was there all the time, so that's,
So it wasn't
So even in
approved
that-
through Brandon.
What'd you say?
Brandon, he never even approved it through Brandon.
yeah.
So,
I'm gonna tell you,
there-
it happened in
so-
football season, and when I saw it in football season with a coach, I approached Brandon. And I told him about it, and he said, well, what are we gonna do now? The season is almost over. And I said, moving forward, Brandon,
We
they
need
should be approved before
The season starts.
before they even practice with our kids, because we don't want somebody to practice with our kids and find out later, oh, they haven't been board approved. He said, okay, I understand. So I didn't say anything, but when I saw it in track, I personally went to Sherman
Oh, okay.
and asked him about this guy, because didn't know who he was. He could remember his name. But Sherman said, yes, his clearance was on file with Brandon. And that's when I called you to say, okay, he needs to be board approved, because
And that's-
he is practicing with him and he got his clearance on file.
Even beyond board approval, they cannot just be having people down there coaching these kids without us knowing who they are, if we have their clearances, and whether they believe that Brandon has them or not, we're required to have them updated every 5 years.
Yes. And they need approval.
Like, that's ridiculous.
But see, we have to have some kind of, platform where, okay, they give them to, okay, in this case, they gave them to Brandon. Brandon should be given to you, you should be, that's not happening. There's a communication gap somewhere, and we have to go, moving forward, we have to make sure that anybody's around our kids before they touch the field, they be around our kids, they should be board approved, and you should know it, he should know it, whatever. So however y'all wanna do it, we just need to, be consistent and,
Agree.
before they volunteer.
Yeah,
Yeah. We don't need a roll call.
no.
All right, postseason basketball.
Wait, we have to vote.
We get a vote.
Yeah, it's action requested.
Oh, that's right, sure did.
We don't need a roll.
We don't need
just
a
ready
roll
to
call
move on.
volunteer.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nobody's opposed.
Okay, now you.
Okay, now you.
All right. Postseason basketball salaries for the 2021 season. Postseason salaries adjustment and payments for the following basketball coaches. Nick Lakovich, $375. Maurice Smith, $300. Dwight Lindsay, $250. And Rashawn Patrick, $200.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, go ahead.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so, just a quick question. Did, Pete Short get his, adjustment?
You approved it last month.
I know you approved it, but did he get it?
Yes.
We quick to, all right, let's go.
Okay, this postseason, is this, playoff?
Yes.
Because when I asked this question before, I was told that everything was included after they get there. Let me ask you, the season was over, March 11th. So when would they have gotten paid, the regular season, before?
25th.
The basketball, if they ended March 11th, if they told me that it was over,
Okay,
then they would have got paid March 25th.
March 25th.
But if I didn't know the season was over, it was probably pushing to April.
No, that was playoff. That was the last game. March 11th was the playoff game. So probably the season was over like 3 games before that. So would it still been in May?
No, usually the end of February. Usually. it
Whenever
could
the
be-
season's over, they should be paid the next pay.
Next pay, okay. All right. So this here, March 11th, this is for, playoffs?
Playoffs, this is
Okay.
playoff, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Did you do this figure?
No, this, Mr. Ladon gave us to me, because basketball played 3 games and boys played 3 games, the girls played 2 games. The head coach gets 125 and the assistant.
I just didn't understand the difference in the amount. That makes sense. Thank you.
Okay, so where's the girls, playoff?
That's Mr. Lindsay and Mr. Patrick.
Oh, they're on it together, okay. Oh, okay, here we go, okay. Because they only had one game.
Two, they had 2 games.
The girls had two?
The girls had
Good
2.
job, okay. Okay. Okay,
All right, student athlete insurance. The student athlete accident insurance with Backwood Financial Planning policy runs July 1st, 2021 through and including June 30th, 2022. Cost is $4,450, which is the same as last year.
Any questions or comments?
No. Recommendation to, recommendation to appoint Delcine McBride as board secretary for the term beginning July 1, 2021 and ending June 30th, 2025 at an annual stipend of $1,800.
Questions or comments?
I thought we were gonna do board, secretary, board treasurer, executive committee, all that on hold or what?
So, no, that should not be on hold, but if, when I was looking through here, this policy, you could still have Ms. McBride as your board secretary, and we could also appoint, a recording secretary, that's in this policy, so that, we would be a lot more connected. We can appoint an assistant secretary, and that is in our school board policy. And then that way we will create a more cohesive agenda so that now our secretary, as well as your president and our superintendent, will work collaboratively to create an agenda. So yes, I'm not opposed to Ms. McBride remaining the secretary, but I would like to appoint an assistant secretary that is a non-voting board member.
I thought when we discussed this, we decided we weren't going to do that.
No, was that the decision made? I don't think we took a vote, we voted on that. I don't remember voting
Pretty sure
on
that the
that.
majority of us were against it.
I'm sorry?
What was that?
I thought the majority of us were against doing that.
Well, I didn't know about the one that you can appoint an assistant one, but I thought that we had discussed it. She would still remain the secretary, but it was.
And as I said, I'm personally not opposed to it.
We're not opposed to it, we're just saying.
But in the policy, ladies, you can, an assistant secretary can be there as well. And that could be your voting board member. Any other questions or comments? Okay, go ahead.
You going on this tonight?
No.
We're just, y'all be asking.
Unless it says action request.
I just get a little confused. You have no
Okay,
questions.
all right.
Recommendation to approve the following resignations for retirement purposes. Patricia Cobb, ES professional employee effective June 12, 2021. Janice Crum, JSHS, professional employee effective June 12, 2021. Nora Lemon, district support staff employee effective July 1st, 2021. Elaine Barostek, elementary school professional employee effective June 12, 2021. Tracy White, elementary school professional employee effective June 12, 2021.
Any questions or comments?
Yes. What about the package deal? I thought they were offering some kind of package deal or something. No, because all the other schools are offering. Why aren't we doing it?
There's no reason at this point.
Was none?
I don't think so.
No.
We talked about it briefly the other night at the budget meeting. I don't think we see at this point any reason to do that.
With these many teachers retiring?
Pardon me?
That's with these many teachers retiring? Do you know why they're retiring?
A lot of them, because it's just that either age or service.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
Have you had conversations with them, exit interviews?
I'm planning to do that, yes.
Everybody's good?
Yeah. I'm gonna make a special request that we expedite things on Watching You. Okay?
Expedited
If
reading?
we could just
Got it.
move through some
Yes.
things.
Recommendation to approve the resignation of Debbie Engelman, Business Administrator or Treasurer.
Building and grounds.
Oh, no questions or
Oh,
comments?
sorry.
Okay.
Building and grounds, recommendation to approve CTM construction to repair masonry damage at the elementary school. The cost of repairs are $1,800. There is a 1-year warranty.
Any questions or comments? Oh, no, I think that's action.
Hold on. Okay. Recommendation to approve,
Can we take action on CTM?
You gotta take action on that.
oh, I'm sorry.
I said I moved, nobody said.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Mrs. Kane, you moved.
Read
I
it.
moved.
You want me to help her?
You got it.
You got the roll call, let me help.
Oh, go ahead, I'll do it, I'll do it.
Here, you go. Let
I
me
need a
help.
second.
She had the roll, oh,
We don't need a roll call on this one.
No, I just need a second.
I'll second.
Baku motion.
Mrs. Kane,
Kane.
Mrs. Bible.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody's opposed?
Okay, recommendation to
Mrs.
approve
Cook, she better.
Little Quip's use of the elementary school parking lot to distribute trophies on Saturday, May 15th, 2021, from 3 to 7 p.m.
Any questions on the motion?
yeah, what is that?
They did that last year because they couldn't have a banquet. To whatever awards or trophies they get, they passed out, they used the
They
parking
did that
lot.
last year.
Yes, they
They
did.
Yeah,
didn't
so
have a
they're
season
doing-
this year. They didn't have a season this past year to pass out.
No,
Yes,
this
they
is
did.
Football, Little Clips.
She played football.
This is for Mr. Walker. Don.
They had a season last year?
Yes.
Yeah, he's the one that emailed me.
Was that?
Like 4 games.
Okay. Did my grandson play?
Yes.
Okay, all right. All right, go ahead. Okay.
Did somebody move?
Mr. Lowe moved.
I moved.
And
Caldwell
Mr. Lowe said, or somebody, I heard Mr. Lowe.
Emotion, yeah.
All right, any questions on the motion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Nobody's opposed?
Okay, recommendation to approve the Little Quips cheerleaders' use of the elementary school gymnasium and cafeteria, May 17th through the 21st of 2021, from 5 to 7, and May 22nd, 2021, from 7 to 3 for tryouts.
I moved.
Second.
Questions on the motion?
Yeah.
Question on that, actually. If it's possible that the cafeteria is not being used, our cafeteria is not, the way it's set up now is set up with all of the carts and everything for lunch distribution, and that would be a lot of work for them to move everything out of there and set up the table, to have to put it right back the next morning. So
We
it's
could just tell them the
possible.
gymnasium only. We could just tell them gymnasium only.
Yeah.
Or that's not gonna work for them.
Okay.
What do they use the cafeteria for?
I was just going to say, they have parent orientation. And then they, on Saturday, they have money, they have the, whatever. So if you don't want to use the cafeteria, I could suggest that you would have, if you can use the hallway or
That's
some,
fine. It's just that
a
the
table.
cafeteria is not set up,
Yeah,
and it would be, they would have to be moving it.
It's
Yeah.
a holding space for them for tryouts. I
Oh,
said it's usually was used on Saturday, as a holding space for the girls to sit for trials. So if there's another space where they can, and then like you said, the hallway, I mean, just somewhere else.
We'll figure it out.
So they're not running through the building, that's all.
yeah.
You just
One
want
gate
to,
will be that way.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said the gates will be down anyway.
Usually what they do is they let the girls sit in there until it's time to try out. And that's all they're doing, they just sitting in there.
right, that's what I said. it's like a
Yeah, I don't
holding
got to
space.
lift the gate.
How about that classroom where they had the book fair? They use that room? Since they're all in the same wing?
They probably could only hold maybe a squad at a time in there. but not even a whole squad, they have a lot of girls trying out. So they could, like, maybe if they did half at a time, they could use you on the band room.
Yeah,
Yes, I mean, they could utilize that.
okay. Okay.
Change that motion then.
Okay.
Just eliminate just use of the elementary school gymnasium. No cafeteria.
Right. And hallways or something.
Yeah, and hallway.
We gotta hurry up and end this meeting
Can you
tonight.
finish the
Yeah, okay, sure.
That's,
Okay, did somebody move?
Mrs. Kane moved, Mrs. Price Jean second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. Vaccination sites. As this is an action requested item, recommendation to approve UPMC to use the junior, senior high school as a vaccination site on Thursday, May 13th. On Thursdays, May 13th and June 3rd, 2021, from 12 through 2:30 p.m. and curative to use the elementary school as a vaccination site Wednesday and Thursdays, May 19th, May 20th, June 9th, and June 10th, 2021, from 4:30 through 8 p.m.
I move, I second.
Any questions on the motion?
No.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Nobody's opposed?
No.
WPPC Summer Program. A recommendation to approve, a WPPC to use the classrooms in the junior, senior high school, June 21st through August 12th, 2021, Monday through Thursday for their summer program, which will be from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Any questions or comments?
No.
Okay. All right, the green elevator inspection. Recommendation to approve the contract with Green Elevator Inspection Company at the following cost. 2021, $150, is that $150?
Yes.
2022, $525, and 2023, $375. Any questions or comments?
Why that big
is this?
graph?
Yeah, what?
Why that big jump on 22 and 22?
Every couple of years, there's different, some years they only have to perform so many tests, and other years they gotta perform more tests.
Okay, all right. Okay, the Early Head Start Playground, recommendation to approve private industry council to put an Early Head Start playground on the elementary school property. Any questions or comments?
No. Oh, she got one.
So
Okay, no, go ahead,
if,
no, you.
where are they putting this? And if we do not extend their contract, their lease with us, what happens with them building? Like
That question came up.
That's a good question.
You never got us an answer?
3 years, there's 3 more years left after this school year. And they either want to put it beside, I attached a picture, beside the existing one they put up a couple years ago, kind of like in the corner, and then the other one, the one that's closest to our playground, closest to the gym, there's a small square there, they would put it there. Those are 1 or 2 places they had it.
So if they already have one, why are they building another?
Because that's for a regular Head Start. This year, they started an early Head Start class.
They shouldn't be allowed to take it back.
Well, I thought during our conversation, he said that if that contract ends, that they would take it.
I don't know if they would take it or not. They're the ones that are paying for it, but we're just allowing the ground.
And then we also have another item on here about doing this gardening program with the kids. So if we're utilizing space to give space to Head Start, how's that gonna affect this space for our students?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
There's another item on here for us to do this community garden. How is that gonna impact the space that we need for our own?
Community garden is going to be in the front of the building on the 21st Street side. It'll be on the other side of the building.
So do we know if we don't extend their contract, like what happens with these playgrounds?
Are we
I think
planning
my
not to?
concern with that is that they're looking at their early Head Start classroom, there's only like, the most I've seen was 3 people, honestly, in that classroom. And even with them walking outside with them. I just think that that the spot up against the building to be an option for it to be in that little space. And they have it like fenced off for their playground or whatever. They don't, of course, they don't want our kids to use it, so on and so forth, but they go on our roof. So, like, kind of great.
Mr. Selepek, obviously, if they believe they have it, since they pay for those, they can
What,
take it.
I didn't see, did they submit a letter to us? What's
She
the
just
letter
sent-
say?
She just sent me an email that she would like to put this. on.
Well, I think we need more specifications or more detail.
Okay.
And then they should answer the question, what happens at the end of the contract? I don't recall, was there any, what was the documentation on the first playground? I think we had some documentation on that. Because that was a grant, that was like $15,000
I'll
or
go
something,
back
wasn't
and
it?
check to see if I
So-
can find it.
Let's do some more, get some more information on that.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All right, the community garden grant. Recommendation to approve constructing a community garden on the elementary school property. All costs are paid through Penn State Extension and a farm-to-school grant. Any questions or comments?
I do. Who's in charge of this? Who's your connection to?
Penn State was Mary Alice
Mary
Gettings.
Alice?
Yes.
And
Adagio Health got involved. They helped out. Then Virginia Majowski, she's actually a
Master Gardener?
Master Gardener, yes. And she is actually retiring, but she is staying on as the Master Gardener in the Aliquippa area because there's one going down at the library and a few other places. So she's going to service the Aliquippa area.
I just gotta stand. I'm okay, I just gotta stand.
And
I'm sorry.
They would like teachers to get involved. I put an interest out. I have not received any interest out yet. I'll resend it out. So.
Is this through the Food Coalition? Or is it something totally different?
The school grant, we received $9,500 and.
To do this?
And Penn State Extension is going to cover any other cost. I can ask about the Food Coalition.
Okay.
Okay, nothing on capital projects, nothing, anything to discuss on policy? Nothing to discuss? All right, information, BCCTC approval sheet. Nothing.
Person going on out there. Well, there is.
All right,
Well, just the one comment, last month we had tabled the Midland motion, and there's needs to be more paperwork done, correct, Mr. Sullivan?
Correct, yeah.
So that won't be happening anytime soon.
That's correct.
I was gonna say, they're still kind of going back and forth on that, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
all right, BDIU board notes.
Okay.
To report.
The election is there for those open spots at the IU. I believe I sent home the letter to fill that out and
So
sign.
we get this to you now, today?
Pardon me?
You want this today?
Yes, please. And we found out last week that Darrell Rivas is being inducted into the WPIL Hall of Fame. So just wanted to share that. The banquet is later this month. The school district is putting an ad into the program. So I just wanted to share that.
Nice, nice.
Okay.
Can I have something to say.
Oh,
It
okay.
did- We do need an executive
If it's okay.
session. No action to be taken.
Okay, we sit here and we talk about the different things we're supposed to do that's on PSBA as a school board. Now, the community engagement is a committee that's supposed to be committee. And
Okay,
that's what I read up on it when I was on, that's my understanding. Is that anybody else's understanding? Because we seem to forget about it. We don't do anything with it. We're not, doing what we need to do to operate our community engagement. And, you know, and see, a lot of things we're not doing that's on PSBA as a school board. But that's one of the things that I noticed when they had that on it, that's supposed to be an operation. Am I correct? Okay, I thought I read it, but we bypass it. I mean, like, when we trying to have a meeting, anything with the teacher, anything, I would appreciate if they would just, give an email, let these teachers know, we should have a day on your list too, that we meet every month.
I thought we did.
Nope, y'all took it off because of something about the community.
It's not on that month?
Yeah,
If it
I
is,
we
it's
can get that started.
been revived, because I didn't see it.
We had it one time, right, end of last month?
No, we used to have meetings. It's just that, they kind of, with the COVID, after that, we stopped having meetings, and now the COVID, we don't want trying to, operate the, and from my understanding, like I said, it's supposed to be, in operation. The community engagement,
We all set specific days of the month that.
and we supposed to have meetings. Yeah, I don't think it's on there.
So we changed that community engagement, to a committee of the whole, and you chair that committee. So I was looking for you to lead that committee. And so if you want those meetings, I'm happy to attend.
I just want everybody to be notified when we have these meetings, because it is important that we do, because we don't want teachers, what we was having before, where the teachers was going around, gossiping and saying different things when they didn't actually know what was going on. And we didn't know what was going on with the teachers. So, I mean, once we meet, it's just for us to communicate issues or what's going on or what we can do, for our district.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know. But I know it's on that PSBA board and on that website that we're supposed to have it as a committee. So,
Thank you.
and that's all, food for thought.
That's good, because Ms. Janice says the same thing about budget, so.
What's that?
And see, I don't even know.
Vote for them all,
I don't even know the days.
I think so.
So we don't-
I'm reading this correctly.
That's all she
You can
keeps
vote for
saying.
one
That's
or
all she-
all,
It's
one or
our
all,
calendar in our
Yeah.
packet.
or none or all.
Excuse me?
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, or all
The
5.
calendar in our packet.
What that?
This envelope here, they sent it home last month for this month, so we're done with this month.
So
So
they send a new one?
they'll send one
See,
every month.
I think you keep taking stuff onto my door, I moved.
I'm gonna make a motion.
I moved, huh?
Oh, we gotta get your, update your address, so he'll send it to the right address.
I think she
All
did.
right.
We got her new address, don't we?
15,
Oh, okay.
That's why she did this stuff, and they sent her old address. Well, he shouldn't be leaving it there if that's not her address. That's a new address. Huh?
But does anybody know her new address?
She knew her address.
She is.
Does anybody here know it?
No,
She didn't give us her address. She's still on them.
Still on them?
That's why I told her update her
All
address.
right, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
I told Kevin though.
Thank you.
Unless they know what I love.
Come on, this baby.